Morning, colleagues. I trust that we had a good weekend, even though it's Thursday now. We had a good week, and that we all have copies of the agenda for today. May I have somebody moving for, or let me start with apologies. Are there any apologies today?
Madam Speaker.
Yes.
Madam Speaker, yes. We have received apologies from Dr. Kornoff and House Chairperson Dombela.
Okay, thank you very much. May we consider the agenda?
Madam Speaker?
Yes, ma'am.
My apologies.
Yes.
I have an apology of the Chief Whip. She'll be joining us a little bit later. She's still in another meeting. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Deputy Chief Whip. Colleagues, that being so, we've considered the apologies. Can we look at the copy of the agenda before you? Okay, are there any additions to the agenda? May we now adopt the agenda?
Sheikh Imam proposes adoption.
Thank you very much, Sheikh.
And Kwang.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwankwa. Thank you. Now, consideration of the minutes of the last meeting. Are there any matters which are not a true reflection of the discussions we had on the minutes? Any corrections? Are there any corrections? If there are none, can somebody move for the adoption of the minutes?
Tasha moves for the adoption of the minutes, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Natasha Mazoni. We now considering...
will second.
Thank
Madam
you, Madam
Speaker.
Speaker. Thank you, Honorable Member. We now proceed to consider matters arising out of the minutes. Now, the first matter arising out of the minutes, which I would like Mr. Klaso to talk to, is the report on Section 25 legislation. The removal of Judge President, I'll talk to that. Electronic voting, Mr. Klaso, and public protector removal, Mr. Klaso. Mr. Klaso, over to you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. In relation to Section 25 report, we just want again to indicate that the report is currently under further business on the order paper. That means it is ready for consideration by the House on a date to be determined by the House. The indication from the programming whip is that there will be a date decided by next week, and at the next meeting of the program committee, that date will be announced. At least that's the information I have on the matter. But the programming whip is here, so if there is additional information or new information, I'm sure she'll be able to speak to that.
Okay. Thank you very much. Programming whip. Programming whip, will you please help us?
Honorable Speaker?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, she's in the waiting room, but what Mr. Klaso reported to this meeting is a true reflection of what she said. Thank you very much.
Okay. Why is she in the waiting room? Is she unable to access? Will the host allow?
Yes, she's waiting to be allowed into the meeting.
We'll work on that, ma'am. We'll get her onto the platform.
Please do that. I'll tell you why. We are left literally with 3 weeks before Parliament rises. So it's important for us to get an understanding of where we are and what the preparations are. And whether, in fact, at the committee level, they have identified a date for the discussion in the House.
Just in the meeting now, ma'am.
Okay, Ms. Lisoma, will you please give us guidance on the matter of Section 25 legislation?
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, and good morning, colleagues. Yes, we will be scheduling it for the 7th of December. So it will be in the last week of December before we rise. It's just that we still have to protect of December, yes, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you very much, colleagues. I suggest that we diarize that tentatively. We are all agreed that it should be the 7th before Parliament rises. And if there are any changes, we will be advised accordingly. Is that okay, honorable members?
Yes, Honorable Speaker.
Agreed.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, honorable members. The second matter is that of the removal of Judge President. I will allow, firstly, let me just report to you that I have received a legal opinion, and I'll direct Mr. Klaso to circulate the legal opinion to all the parties, and then parties can just, familiarize themselves with the opinion. However, at this point, I will not allow for an opening of a discussion of that matter. I will make a determination at the point when the matter is brought to the House. I am aware that at this point the matter is in court, and I know Judge Sope is challenging this issue. So once the time comes, I will then raise this matter here at the programming committee on how I proceed with the matter. I hope that is acceptable, honorable members, but that please bear in mind that the legal opinion which I have received will be circulated to all political parties for your consideration. Is that okay, honorable members? Is that agreed? We agree, Madam Speaker.
Agreed, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you,
Madam Speaker, it's Tasha. Do you have my hand raised?
Yes, Miss Natasha Mazon.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Speaker, I wonder if that legal opinion can also be sent to the Office of the President, as yesterday the shortlisting came out for the positions of Judge President, and Judge Hlophe has been shortlisted. So I think it would just be right to send that legal opinion to the President's office as well, given the shortlisting of the Judge President has been done too. I think the President's office should get that legal opinion together with the rest of us. Thank you very much.
I think for the record, what we have read and seen from the media, only 4 judges have been circulated. And I'm aware that Judge Hlophe's name is not on the list of those judges.
Honourable Speaker.
Yes, we will circulate to everybody, all concerned. Mr. Singh, Honourable Singh.
Thank you very much, Honourable Speaker. Good morning, everybody. I did have my hand up, and I'm sorry to intervene when you were speaking. You are quite correct. Judge Hlophe's name is not on that 4. Thank you very much.
Thank you very, very much, Honourable Singh. Honourable Buroto.
What is that? It's gone. I can't find my icon.
Okay. Honorable Sheikh Imam, followed by Honorable Papo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I must agree with you and concur with the Honorable Singh. Judge Hlophe is not one of the 4 people that have been now recommended by the President. So,
okay. Madam Speaker, I'm sorry. I had pressed something that closed my icon. My issue is sometimes I was just going to find out from Mr. Kaso if really it is this programming committee that has got to send the opinion to the President. Where is the separation of powers? I don't think it is from us that should be doing that. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Honorable Buroto. That's very appropriate, actually. Yeah. Because I would imagine that the President gets his own legal opinion and we get our legal opinion from the side of Parliament. And of course, for now, from the list we have seen, the name of Judge Hlophe is not on the list of the shortlisted candidates, maybe because he is still in court. So I think it's a matter we should not even discuss. It does not arise in this instance. Honorable Ntlangwini, Papo, followed by Honorable Ntlangwini.
Speaker, yes, I think the approach is correct, because I would be worried, even if we have opinions around the judge in relation to what's supposed to happen in Parliament and what is in court. It would be problem as if Parliament will be, NA will be campaigning like giving an opinion for what purpose. It creates an impression as if we're campaigning against the judge, but at the same time, Parliament is doing its legal opinion for itself, as you say, and the executive sources its own opinion. And I think we should leave it there. The answer you gave at the beginning is actually correct, that we wait for the process to end. The President would have asked for I don't think the President will ask for an opinion from the legislative sector when they can actually get it. That doesn't mean that people doesn't have an opinion, but we can't officially be saying there's an opinion. They'll ask, but for what purpose are you giving us the opinion?
Thank you very much, Honorable Papo. Honorable Ntlangwini, followed by Honorable Ngwakwa, then Honorable Mkalipi.
Thank you very much, Speaker. Now, I want to concur with the Honorable Papo as well. I think the Office of the President is well equipped to investigate any matter or have any opinion over anyone that they're gonna put into a position. It's not for us to, as this body, to feed them with information which is not our role. And you are quite correct, Speaker. Let us just wait on the process, and then that of this process is done. Since you have said the judge is busy with the issue legally, let's wait upon the process. It's not going to help us to rush into a process. It's just a pity that Judge Klopper didn't make the full cut. It would have been interesting to see, but yeah, let's leave it as such, Speaker. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nhlangwini. Honorable Nkwakwa.
Speaker, thank you very much for the opportunity. I do concur with my colleagues, especially with Honorable Boroto, in saying that we must not seem to be seeking to interfere in the processes that are taking place at other arms of government. It's important that we focus on ensuring that the process that is currently underway in Parliament is not only fair, but is seen to be fair. We should also not be bothered by what other people are doing and other stakeholders are doing. We should focus on discharging our constitutional mandate to the best of our ability. So indeed, yes, I agree. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Nkwakwa. Honorable Mkhaliphi.
Oh, thanks very much, Speaker. I think Honorable Nhlangwini has covered me a lot because I was being worried when it's reported to say that the issue of Judge Hlophe is being processed in the committee level. But now here, as a parliament, it's looking like we have already a preempt decision in terms of what is going to be taken there in the portfolio committee. Because I think it is unfair to just to rush and isolate one person in terms of the discussion here in Parliament. Let us allow the process as we have outlined, Madam Speaker, and then let us avoid just to put Parliament into this discussion whereby we are going to be perceived as Parliament that you are dealing with individuals there. So this matter is in front of the Portfolio Committee of Justice, and let us just see and what will happen there, because all political parties are there in the Portfolio Committee. Then that's where we are going to debate a matter. But to come here in this programming committee and to say that, even suggest that the legal opinion of Parliament must be given to the President, I think we are preempting the debate that is going to take place in terms of what the members of the committee, Justice Committee, is going to express themselves in the committee. I'm just cautioning a Speaker, but I was very happy as well because you also agreed of what Honorable Boroto was suggesting, to say that no, let us be very careful of what we are saying here. Thanks, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mkhaliphi. Honorable Mazon, you are the last one on the matter now.
Thank you. Thank you, Honourable Speaker. I did not mean to stir up a hornet's nest, but you are quite right. I correct myself. He was not one of the four that was listed at the end. I do, however, wish to remind this committee that Parliament has executive oversight role on the executive, not the other way around. So it is a parliamentary constitutional duty of Parliament to keep to hold the executive to account, and we would be in all legal rights able to forward any legal opinion we had received if we so wanted to do. There is nothing wrong with that. Any arm of government can forward a legal opinion that they receive. It means absolutely nothing. And I think that it's a gross violation in actual fact of the conversations that we have in the programming committee to suggest that a member would be lobbying for or against anything that is certainly not the case. We are all allowed to enter into robust debate, which is what we are supposed to do. And we're all about holding the executive to account, which is also what we do. So thank you, Madam Speaker, and thank you for clearing the issue up.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazoni. Honorable members, as I have summarized earlier on, we will circulate the legal opinion to all political parties so that all of you can familiarize yourselves with the contents of that legal opinion. Secondly, at the appropriate time as Speaker, I will make a determination, and when I make that determination, it will be brought before, when the matter is brought before the House, you will know. And lastly, let us stay out of this issue for now, because Judge Hlophe is still challenging the matter in court. In fact, in essence, this matter is a sub judice matter right now because it is in a court of law. So on that note, honorable members, the matter is closed. We then proceed to deal with the matter arising, which is electronic voting. And I will invite Mr. Kaso to give us a briefing, or the Secretary of Parliament, Ms. Kyawa. Ms. Kyawa. Ms. Kyawa, are you here? Well, I don't have your apology if you are not here. Mr. Kaso?
Madam Speaker, yes, the report is that the institution is still in the process of testing the electronic voting platforms. Presentations have been made to both the multi-party ICT steering committee on the recommendations, as well as to the Chief Whips Forum. It was done last week. So the matter is receiving priority, and a presentation will also be made to the Executive Authority of Parliament because the matter affects both houses of Parliament. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Are there any comments? Any honorable members who would like to make comments on this matter? But yes.
I just want to concur with Mr. Kaso. We did receive a presentation in the Chiefs Forum, and we also said that let us wait for another more presentation, and after that, because this is going to be happening for the first time in the National Assembly, also in Parliament, after we have received so many presentations, and then we conclude with which one are we going to move with it as Chiefs Forum, as this programming committee. So therefore, maybe we'll also ask the presentation to be taken to each and every caucus of Parliament. We said that because, Madam Speaker, some of us, we are very old. So we need to understand this thing very well before we take decision on behalf of our members. So that's what I believe the discussion is at a Chiefs Forum, to say that, no, let us explore so many, and then at the end of the day, we are going to agree, and we are going to take it to our caucuses and agree which one we must agree on. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mkalipi. That is the issue. Thank you very much. Honorable members, the fourth matter arising on my list is the public protector process, removal process. Honorable Aso.
Madam Speaker, the matter is currently before the Constitutional Court, and judgment has been reserved. And basically two issues there. The issue of legal representation of the public protector during the removal proceedings in Parliament, and the participation of a judge in the independent panel. So both issues are serving before the Constitutional Court, and we await the decision of the court on that matter. So at this point, the matter is held in abeyance within Parliament because both these issues have a direct bearing on how that committee conducts itself when it deals with this matter. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kaso. Honorable members, are there any comments, even though we shouldn't be commenting because the matter is in the Constitutional Court right now? We are awaiting a ruling there. So in a sense, the matter is sub judice. Is that agreed, honorable members? Is that the understanding of everybody?
That's
Yes.
my understanding, Madam Speaker. Thanks.
Thank you. Thank you very much, honorable members. Having done with matters arising.
Madam Speaker, I'm sorry, it's Tasha again. You don't seem to be seeing my hand this morning.
Because you don't have your hand up. I'm sorry.
I do have my hand up, Madam Speaker.
Okay.
But never mind. As long as you see me now, thank you, Madam Speaker. I think we must just be made aware of, and legal services can back us up on this. We've had a legal opinion twice given to us in Parliament as to the sub judice rule, and the sub judice rule has been changed significantly to say that the matter may be discussed as long as the merits of the case are not discussed. So it's not to say that it can never be put on the agenda or for example, a date programmed for a meeting or anything of the kind. You are allowed to discuss an issue if it's before the courts, as long as the merits are not discussed. So I think we must just have a firm understanding of what the new sub judice rule is, and perhaps we can ask legal services to also share that opinion that they shared with us a few months ago, just to refresh our memories. Thanks very much, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazzoni. That matter, if we want the legal team unit to present that issue which you are proposing, that can be brought at the next meeting. But the point is, whatever issue we discuss which relates to this process, it will be a sub judice matter because the matter is currently at the Constitutional Court. So I want to suggest that we do not discuss this matter, but rather if there is a request indeed that legal unit should bring this matter here, bring the legal opinion on to what it is that we may discuss and what not to discuss, then we can do that at the next meeting. For now, the matter is not being discussed. I see hands now. Honorable Mkalipi, followed by Honorable Mkwakwa. Are you?
No, I'm not discussing it, Madam Speaker, but sorry, Mkwakwa. No, I'm not discussing the matter, Honorable Speaker, but I wish Busisiwe Mkhwebane, Public Protector, to win this case for just control, Madam Speaker, in the court of law. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable.
No, Speaker, I respect your ruling, so I've lowered my hand.
Okay, thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Colleagues, we then proceed to deal with the report. It's an item number 5 on the agenda, and that item number 5 is the report by the committee section. Over to you.
Thank you, Madam Speaker, honorable members and colleagues.
Yes, Mr. Yes, Mr. Tau.
Oh, thank you, Madam Speaker, honorable members and colleagues. Our report starts on slide number 20. On this slide, it is the tax laws that has been tabled during the MTBPS. The Standing Committee on Finance is planning to finalize the 3 bills on the 24th of November, which is next week. The next update is on slide number 40. On this slide, it is the Children's Bill Amendment, the Children's Amendment Bill before PC on Social Development. The bill has got a court deadline, which is November 2022. And the committee is currently planning public hearings in Northern Cape, Eastern Cape, KwaZulu-Natal, Gauteng, Free State, and Western Cape. The last date is the 10th of December, and the committee is planning to finalize the bill in March 2022. The next update is on slide number 45. On this slide, it is the Public Administration General Amendment Bill before PC on Public Service and Administration. The committee is planning to schedule the bill activities next year, 2022. The next update is on slide number 46. That is the National Land Transport Amendment Bill before PC on transport. The committee had received briefings by the legal services on the 16th of November. The next update was slide number 50. On this slide, it is statutory appointment before PC on communications. The committee had planned to finish the process, but because of other activities, the interviews will continue on the 19th, and then the committee will decide on the day to finalize the process. Next update is slide number 52. On the slide, it is the statutory appointment to fill vacancies in the Public Service Commission. The Committee on Public Service and Administration has issued the adverts, and then the date is from the 19th up to the 3rd of December. That is when the submissions can be made. The next update was number 53. On this slide, it is the matter before public PC on agriculture, land reform and rural development, and PC on employment and labor. The committees are required to conduct comprehensive oversight work on the working conditions of the farm workers. The committee has requested extension because it was expected to report the 30th of November. The committee is requesting the extension up to the 30th of November 2022. This concludes our report, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Mr. Tau. Honorable members, are there any comments on the matter? On the reports? Even though, to be honest, I don't understand if we receive a slides about what? About 63 slides, and only 5 of those are matters which are important for us to note at this meeting. I don't think we should be wasting paper and bring so many slides. If these are matters which we've considered before, then they should not be brought in here. Let us bring slides which are relevant to the meeting for today. If we could do that, because it causes a bit of confusion. Thank you very much, Dr. Tau. Any comments? It seems there are no hands. If there are none, I proceed then to deal with the report from the Bill's office. Report from the Bill's office.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. My name is Neil Bell, and I have been mandated by Ms. Jobili to produce or present on our behalf. On the document that is on display, you will notice that paragraph B has been highlighted. It reflects the Division of Revenue Amendment Bill and the Adjustments Appropriation Bill, both of which will be referred to the Standing Committee on Appropriations after both houses have adopted the revised fiscal framework on the 24th of November. Moving on, Madam Speaker, to paragraph C, items 34, 35, and 36. These reflect the 3 rates and tax bills that were also introduced on the 11th of November, plus the envisaged dates on which they will be passed by both houses. Under paragraph D, Madam Speaker, the select committees on appropriations and COCTA have reported recently on the Local Government Municipal Systems Bill and the second Special Appropriation Bill. The Local Government Municipal Systems Bill will be coming back to the National Assembly because it has been, or it will be officially amended in NCOP. Last night there was another bill that was reported on, the Criminal Procedure Amendment Bill, but that bill will not be coming back to the NA because there were no proposed amendments to it. The items that you see highlighted under paragraph E are simply the other two bills that were passed in the National Assembly on Tuesday and then transmitted to the NCOP for concurrence. Madam Speaker, what you don't see here is that at the moment we have received 3 certified bills from the Office of the Chief State Law Advisor: the Deeds Registries Amendment Bill, the National Felt and Forest Fire Amendment Bill, and the Criminal Law Forensic Procedures Amendment Bill. We process them and see that all the rules are complied with, and then when everything is ready, we see that they are introduced and referred to the JTM and the portfolio committees concerned. Lastly, may I just say that probably because of the relatively late introduction of the MTBPS this year, it is, I wouldn't say likely, but it is possible that we will have to work beyond 1 January to make sure that the money and tax bills are properly produced and sent to the President for assent. If I may, Madam Speaker, I'd like to hand over to my colleague, Advocate van der Merwe, in the Legislative Drafting Unit for a report on Concord legislation. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Mr. Peel. Honorable members, are there any comments on the bills, on the matters presented by Mr. Peel?
Madam Speaker,
Yes.
There is a request, ma'am, for the bills that have constitutional deadlines also to be presented, and maybe the members could comment on that as well, with your permission, ma'am.
Okay, you may proceed.
Thank you, Speaker. Good morning, members. Good morning, Speaker.
Good morning, Shamin.
We have submitted a report that sets out all the constitutional court matters where the court has given a suspension of an order. But from that report, there's only 3 matters that we would like to report on in respect of progress or concerns. The first one relates to the Electoral Act. It is the matter of New Nation Movement versus the President and others, and it relates to independent candidates. The suspension of this order lapses on the 10th of June 2022, next year. And on this matter, the department has confirmed that Cabinet must still deliberate on the matter. There was an advisory committee appointment in February 2021, and we can report that they have now completed their work. This is the report that will be taken to Cabinet. However, we do not have any indication of when a bill will be introduced into Parliament. And even if a bill is introduced early in January, it leaves Parliament with 6 months to process this bill in both houses and for the President to consider and assent to the bill. This period is a bit of concern. It does not leave a lot of time for Parliament to deliberate on this matter. From our side, we have written to the department. The committee section, I'm aware, is also from their side. The committee support section is also from their side in contact with the department. The next matter is the Drugs and Drug Trafficking Act, the matter of Smith versus Minister of Justice. The suspension of the order lapses on the 17th of December next year. On this matter, there's already a public consultation process undergoing, and a draft bill has already been approved. There's 2 matters on this case that are affected. So there will be two bills. The one draft bill has already been approved by the DG cluster, relevant DG cluster, and will be submitted to the cabinet for approval. So this bill will probably be introduced early next year. On the next slide, the last matter is that of the Regulation of Interception of Communications Act, the Amabungani Center for Investigative Journalism matter versus Minister of Justice. Here, the suspension only lapses 3 February 2024, but good progress has already been made, and a first draft of the bill will be made available early next year to the relevant stakeholders, and the department is actually aiming for introduction of this bill during July or August next year. Speaker, those are all the matters that we have something to report on. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. It seems we have on course, judging by the dates given to us. Honorable Singh, followed by Honorable Swart and Honorable Nakute. I note you have your hands up. Honorable Singh.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, and thank you for the report, Advocate, and the other committee section people. Speaker, I think we should have a red flag on the issue of the new nation matter in particular, because Advocate van der Merwe is telling us about the very short time frame. And perhaps your writing as the Speaker to the Cabinet to consider this matter expeditiously so it comes to the House and can be dealt with will help the situation. Otherwise, we could find ourselves in a position where it only comes to the House in February or March next year because we would be with SONA and everything else, and we may not have enough time to process some of this legislation. So perhaps, one needs, your office needs to look at that and assist the process. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Honorable Swart.
Good morning, Speaker. Good morning, colleagues. I will leave my camera off because of connection issues with your permission. And I just want to support Mr. Singh. The issue of new nation, that is the Electoral Act amendment bill, was discussed yesterday at the WIPS meeting. This is a matter of huge concern, not only because of the time limit, but there is a tendency by the Constitutional Court not to grant any extensions of deadlines. And as we know, this matter is also in the public domain. So, Speaker, I would strongly suggest that we take this up with the executive, given that the court order is against Parliament to amend the legislation. We need to take this up urgently. We need to regularly obtain feedback and closely monitor this, given the fact that it is of major policy development requiring looking into the elections. And at this stage, we still don't have a bill before Parliament. So I just want to express my huge concern about this issue, and I'm sure all members and colleagues will share that concern that we need to closely monitor this. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Swart. Honorable Hlakude.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I want to concur with my colleagues, Honorable Speaker, that this is a concern for us as Parliament. There's this tendency of bills being delayed or judgments being delayed within the departments. So we urge the Speaker to be more to write to the executive about these matters, because they are usually brought to Parliament at a later stage, which is most problematic, and the judgment will be against Parliament, not those departments. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, honorable members, for your inputs. Just to indicate to you that having listened to the debates on the matter through the media in the past few weeks, I think during the election, I have decided that I will write a letter to the leader of government business to request the leader of government business to urge the Minister of Home Affairs to speed up the process so that it goes to Cabinet and finally to Parliament. So that's a process which I've seriously considered, and having raised this matter here now, so it shall be done. Thank you very much, honorable members. The matter is now raised, it's closed, and then we proceed now to deal with consideration of the draft parliamentary program. Honorable Lisuma.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. If you may allow me not to put on my video for connectivity purposes. Thank you very much, and good morning once more, colleagues and the Speaker. We are in week 20. I would not necessarily go to the international bodies because we spoke about them. They still stand as reflected there, but the importance is that we are putting it because some of our members, they represent our country in those forums and bodies. Thank you very much. Which 20 will start with today. And of course, now we are in a programming committee on a visual platform. Various political parties who deem to hold their caucuses at 10 to midday. At 14 hours, we will be holding a hybrid condolences of motion. We'll start with that for both families. May their soul rest in peace. Family Mapazwe, family our late Honorable Mapazwe and Honorable Professor Mkhize, followed by the report of the Portfolio Committee, third quarter of expenditure 2021. But Honorable Speaker, if you may allow me, I'll just run through the reports of the committee for the purpose of recording, but as flighted, that PC on social development, that third quarter report, PC on transport oversight report to Gauteng and Mpumalanga. PC Portfolio Committee on Transport as well, is Mangaung Metropolitan Municipality Oversight Report, followed by which will be the last item of the day, is the fourth quarter of same Portfolio Committee of Transport. Thank you very much. Then it's Friday, which is tomorrow, which is a normal committee day. And any committee that is sitting on Friday is 80 seat accordingly. We will then move to week 21. Week 21, I will start to Tuesday, Honorable Speaker, which is committee in the morning, committees in the morning, which are 80 seat accordingly, at 14 hour to 17 plus 45 hour hybrid sitting. We will be dealing with the item number 1, budgetary review recommendation reports, and budgetary review report on public. We will be currently committees are dealing with the BRRRS, so the BRRRS report then will be starting to come before the House for scheduling, as it reflected there, which is on public works, both of with their entities, and followed by the Joint Standing Committee on Financial Management, which I must state here, these reports are going to be tabled as one for, and then they will make a one declaration. We understand that various political parties had engagement on this one because they are more or less the same in a way. The third item will be the revised annual performance of communication, followed by the basic education, and followed by the public enterprises portfolio committee. The sixth one will be on employment and labor joint oversight that they held with the public accounts committee. Followed by the Minerals and Energy Portfolio Committee oversight to the Western Cape Province, and followed by the PC Environment and Forestry and Fisheries oversight in KwaZulu-Natal, as stated in terms of the date, which is this year, January this year. As you can notice, Honorable Speaker, that now we're trying also to push those outstanding reports that are under, which reflect in the schedule of the House as other business, as it were. So we are starting to do that, and that will be followed in item number 9. Honorable Speaker and members, Joint Standing Committee on Defense report on their oversight of military bases in Gauteng and selected land borders, which was held in November 2020. The highlighted one, Honorable Speaker, is the joint interim report on PC, on employment and labor, portfolio committee on agriculture and land and reform, as it were. What is important here is a joint standing committee, so it's very important that we note that. Will be followed by the Wednesday one, which is next week on the 24th. I'm not going to repeat the morning items, Honorable Speaker, if you may allow me to do so, but quickly to go to the afternoon, which is the hybrid sitting, questions of oral report for the Cluster 1, Peace and Stability, and followed by the consideration of the ST on Finance 2021 Revised Financial Framework. I must state here, okay, let's leave that one, not stating anything there. On Thursday also, I will go quickly to the afternoon, Honorable Speaker, because at 10 in the morning until midday is a multi-party women's caucus. At 14 hours till 17 hours will be a hybrid sitting questions to the Honorable President. And normally, as usual, committee meetings that are going to be 80 seat accordingly for the public to be aware of that. And we will now be moving to December, which I must state, Honorable Speaker, that in November, which is the hybrid sitting without dealing with the morning one, is the BRRR reports also. Allow me then not to repeat, Honorable Chair, what is written there. Safe to say it's various reports from the various committees that we'll be dealing with until item number 8, up to 9, 89, closing by the oversight of Central Firearm Registry by the Portfolio Committee of Police. On Wednesday, Honorable Chair, then it will be followed by the same activities in the morning of the portfolio, various political parties and the Chief Whip's Forum, which is a closed virtual sitting. At 15 hours, it will be a Cluster 2 social services questions for oral reply. Thursday, December the 2nd, it's a programming committee followed by the multi-party women's caucus, and then at 14 hours will be a debate on 16 days of no violence against women and children. This item, Honorable Speaker, and your good office also agreed that it will be now a separate debate, not what has been reflected in the few weeks, and both houses will do it as reflected in the report. On the same day, also we'll be dealing with the Joint Committee Ethics and Members' Interest report on 2019 Register of Members' Interest, and the late and the non-disclosure thereof of honorable members. And yes, let me leave it like that. And then we'll go to the normal day, which is on Friday, the committees, which will be going to be 80 seat accordingly. On week 23, I must also then bring back the issue that the item that was raised earlier on as matters arising on the section 25, that it will be then accommodated as discussed earlier on, Honorable Speaker. However, we'll be dealing then moving forward on plenary from 14 hours, which is going to be slightly a long day. We'll be dealing with all the legislations that are supposed to be come before the House so that we also meet the necessary deadlines as expected, followed by the consideration of reports of the various political portfolio committees, which from 1 to item number 4, it's the public and administration report with its entities, and followed by, which is including your point 6, which also they will be dealing with their second quarter financial year report. Thank you very much. And then on the 7th point, on the same day, will be Science and Technology report on National Student Financial Scheme, which is one of their entities. And same department also will be dealing, presenting their oversight report on Val University of Technology. On Wednesday, Honorable Speaker, it's a committee in the morning until the midday, followed by the Chief Whip's Forum, which is a closed meeting on a virtual platform, and a plenary in the afternoon, which will be dealing with the Cluster 3 governance questions for oral reply. On Thursday, as reflected there, which is a normal day in the morning of a programming committee and caucus, any political party deems to hold their political party caucuses, and then in the afternoon at 14 hours, we'll be dealing with the questions to the Deputy President. On Friday, which is the last day, it's a hybrid plenary sitting, which will be starting in the morning. We'll be considering the report on ST Committee on Appropriation 2021 midterm budget policy statement, followed by the Expropriation Committee report on adjustment appropriation bill and the midterm budget policy statement, as it were. The fourth point will be adjustment of appropriation bill and adjustment, which will be the last item, which is the sixth item, will be the farewell speeches, and then the House will rise. I must probably, Honorable Speaker, add that the actual when are we coming back on research, it was raised in our last meeting. We will factor in the incoming weeks, Honorable Speaker, and the other matters in terms of the framework for the incoming year, which is 2022, as it were. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lesuma. Honorable members, I see your hand, Honorable Natasha Mazzoni, followed by Honorable Imam Sheikh. Sheikh Imam, sorry.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, it's more of an observation than anything else. And a thank you. The last time we had condolence motions in the House, I found it incredibly kind and moving that the parties invited all the chief whips to come upstairs and meet the family members who had come to Parliament to receive their condolences. It gave me great condolence and comfort, and it was a great honour to give my condolences to the families of the members who'd passed on. And I would like to just thank the chief whips of the various parties, namely, if I may, the Honourable Pemi and Honourable Klengwa from the IFP, who invited us upstairs to meet the family members. I appreciated that very much. And if the same could be done today, I would appreciate it tremendously, because it gives us all a sense of closure, and it also allows us all to pay the family the respects, which I think is so desperately required during these very difficult times. Thank you, Madam Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazon. Honorable Sheikh Imam.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to just express my disappointment that I have previously highlighted with the support of my colleague from the UDM, Honorable Kwankwan, things. The limited time, if ever, in the last 3 years, I give you an example, some of the smaller parties have never had an opportunity to debate on motions, substantive motions in Parliament. This matter was discussed extensively, and as such, we put in a mechanisms of having mini plenaries and things, so all political parties would be given an opportunity. And since then, I find that while we started the process, it ended abruptly, and no consideration is being given to have these motions. And I can tell you that for 3 years at least, minimum, I'm trying to table a motion and repeatedly ensure that this thing is reintroduced. And it just never comes to that. So small parties remain at the mercy of the table and Parliament as a whole. And we don't get those opportunities. I'd like to know, when are we going to reintroduce these mini plenaries so smaller parties who also have a voice and have constituencies will be given the opportunity to be including in these programs so that we too can do justice to our members. Thank you very much, ma'am.
Viva Comrade Imam.
Honorable Imam Sheikh, I've noted that, and I would hope that the whips will discuss this matter, because indeed it's one of the matters I was briefed about when I started working here. And yeah, Honorable Hlakude, I hope you'll respond to this issue in the course of your making your input.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I think the matter, you are right. We'll take it back to the Chief Whips Forum, then it will come to the National Assembly Programming Committee after we have discussed it, Honorable Speaker. I want to extend the invitation to all Chief Whips to meet with the family in the National Assembly restaurant this afternoon before we go to their house. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Lakude. Okay, that was the consideration of the parliamentary program. I thank you, honorable members, for your comments. Under announcements, there is a matter which is a matter of concern which reached my ears, honorable members. A break-in at Honorable Mazoni's office. I discussed the matter very briefly with Honorable Mazoni. I've also discussed it with Honorable Mr. Kaso and the Acting Secretary of Parliament, Ms. Gyawa. I'm awaiting a report from the police. I was informed that the police were on the spot at the time when I was engaging with the Secretary of Parliament. So I am expecting a report, and once I receive that report, you will all be informed. But what is interesting to me is that I'm informed that the cameras at the time were not working, but according to the Secretary of Parliament, there are cameras, and the police have been able to look into what is in the footage in those cameras. So we will see what comes out of it. But also, the Secretary of Parliament indicated to me that there are areas in that building which do not have cameras because honorable members objected to having cameras installed in those particular areas. So once the report is received from the police, we will then discuss this matter. But I would also imagine that the whips must have discussed the matter and should be able to propose a way forward on the matter. But it is a matter of concern that there will be a break-in right within the precincts of Parliament, a break-in in an office of an honorable member. I think it's something which all of us should be concerned about, because sometimes some honorable members, including myself here, we leave the premises here very late in the night. And I can imagine if people who break into our offices could actually find an honorable member in the office in the night, I can imagine what would happen there. So it's something which all of us should be concerned about. And it's something which we will be attending to. Security of Parliament, I'm also aware, is working closely with the police to deal with the matter. Thank you, honorable members. Is there any comment on the matter?
Speaker?
Yes, honorable member.
Natasha Ntlangweni.
Yes, honorable Ntlangweni.
I think, Speaker, this is very unfortunate. We have many a times spoke about our safety at Parliament, even at our parks where we are staying. There's a great deal of our safety being compromised. And if the report comes out that there's no surveillance cameras in certain areas, surveillance cameras must be installed. I think Parliament shouldn't take it from members and say, no, don't install a camera in this passage and that passage. There are people working on site many a times, construction people working on site, and many a times one do feel unsafe. You are alone, per se, in your office, and you are working. And ever since I started in Parliament, I forever worked with a closed, locked office because of you just don't feel safe as a woman, per se, in Parliament. So greater emphasis needs to be taken, Speaker. We can't take this issue lightly. Of a break-in of one of the members' offices, and the issue that we have raised numerous times on this platform, how unsafe is even the parks where we are living. The police here, they just don't care. They are on a lounging spree. They, at times you are looking, the gates are just wide open. There's no frequent checks being done or who is coming in and who is leaving. I had a situation even here in the park where I live, and I've written 2 public works whereby my vehicle's wheels were stolen that I was in an accident with. So nothing have happened to it. So really a greater emphasis need to be pay attention by Parliament of the safety of members in Parliament and where they are living. Thank you very much, Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Ntlangwini, for raising the matter. Honorable Nkwankwa, followed by Honorable Shakude.
Thank you, Speaker. Thank you, Speaker. Well, Speaker, I think this safety issue needs serious attention. It's a serious concern. I want to take you back to one incident where I was told at one of the gates, at the main gate, to F off by a police officer during SONA because he didn't want to let me in. Yes, we reported the matter, and then the police officer involved ended up apologizing for the incident. But the issue for me is that even at that time, when I said, surely you should have picked up in the cameras that there was a bit of altercation, even though you can't hear the audio, I was advised that not all the cameras are working. I think at the time, even cameras on that side, not all of them were working. And so it's a concern that you have this issue with cameras, I think 3 or however many years later. But the other challenge, I agree with Honorable Ntlangwini, that during the lockdown period and in the recent months, I have had to let my staff members to go home early because they are predominantly female and they feel unsafe, especially on Friday afternoons at the office, because there are a lot of people who gain access into the precinct and they would find them roaming up and down, some of them using even toilets in Marx buildings and probably even other buildings of Parliament, people who are unidentified and unaccounted for. The researcher in my office even confronted one of them a couple of weeks ago and tried to find out whether he was a visitor. And he was not a visitor. He just wanted to use the ablution facilities in Parliament. And then no one knows after that person left the building, whether the person left the building or went to other floors. So the safety issue needs to be considered seriously in Parliament. I mean, Speaker, as I conclude, as a security officer of Coin Security back in the days, I think we did better access control. That what the police officers are doing. You have to be attentive, make sure that you don't attend to your issues. I mean, they play Candy Crush some on WhatsApp while people are walking into the precinct and leaving. But obviously not all of them, but the majority of them, there seems to be a lack of discipline in terms of this security issue. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Kwakwa. Honorable Kwakwa. Honorable Zakude, followed by Honorable Sting, and then Honorable Mazoni. And that will be my last speaker in this matter.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I think I would concur with the honorable members who spoke before me. The safety of members of Parliament should be a priority to Parliament. I would agree, Honorable Speaker, that cameras should be installed in all corners. Where members objected, I remember we discussed this matter several times in the Chief Whip's Forum, the issue of safety of members in Parliament. So it was only inside the offices, if my memory serves me right, where members objected. But on the corridors and other dark areas, the cameras should be working, so that we know exactly who comes in and who goes out. Why am I saying this? I want to agree with the honorable members, Honorable Speaker, once more, that we have many people working in Parliament, construction workers. You meet people, many people around the parliamentary precinct, and there by the gates where the police are sitting, where we are expected to put our bags through that machine so that they can see. Sometimes you do that and no one is watching. Sometimes those construction workers will come in and out through the boom gate, not through that door where we are supposed to go in. So it's a serious concern, because one day something major might happen and the Parliament will be sued. So it's an urgent matter that needs to be attended to. It's a pity that an honorable member's office was broken in. So we had this yesterday, and we saw it also on the Chief Whip's Forum WhatsApp group. So it's very scary. Like now, we are not all here. It's only few members who are in Parliament. And you can imagine, I went to my office, the office that we are allocated the other day, it was last week, in the 90 plane. It's very quiet. And you can imagine what would happen if somebody comes in and try to break into the office. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you very much, Honorable Shakutes. Honorable Singh.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. I can only but agree with all my honorable colleagues about the need to beef up security. But I think just cameras only are not going to be something that's going to be the panacea, because that will be able to detect who did what at some stage. But we need to prevent people from getting into parliamentary precincts. And the perimeter security is more important than anything else. What I would like to suggest, Honorable Speaker, is that we have a confidential briefing with the head of security, either to NAPAC or the Chief Whip's Forum, or a meeting that you convene, so we know what they have in place, what their shortcomings are, and how they intend beefing up security to protect all of us, not only us members of Parliament, but even all the other workers who are on the precinct officially at that time. And we can also talk about proposals for additional cameras at that meeting. So I would like to propose, Madam Speaker, that you convene such a meeting and we be invited to it. Perhaps not virtually, but perhaps physically, if it's at all possible for us to attend that meeting. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Singh. Honorable Mazon.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Madam Speaker, firstly, allow me to thank you for your immediate reaction when you found out that the office had been broken into. Your phone call to me was almost immediate, and it was highly appreciated. Madam Speaker, I think what shocked all of us the most was the blatant fact that this was really a break-in, because they broke so unnecessarily. It was almost like a vandalization of the office, where one of the fluorescent lights was ripped, attempted to be ripped out of the ceiling. And we believe that it was an attempt to steal the actual light bulbs themselves. And, you know, half of it left hanging from the ceiling, the rest of it on the floor. The cupboards broken so that the locks were actually broken out of the cupboards. What did worry us, though, Madam Speaker, is that the access into my particular office seemed to have been done with a key. Which the police are investigating, and will obviously know more at a later stage. So I think we also have to keep very close tabs on exactly where the keys of our office are, who has access to them, because we know that ourselves are not the only people who have access to the keys of our office. Madam Speaker, it's also interesting to note that the particular burglars knew exactly what the good stuff was and what the not so good stuff was, because they were obviously in a hurry and they went straight for what was expensive and left what wasn't that expensive. And maybe on a lighter note, it's interesting to note that the burglars preferred ginger ale to anything else I had in my fridge. I had 24 200 milliliters of Coca-Cola and 24 milliliters of cans of ginger ale. The ginger ale was stolen, but not the Coca-Cola. So at least we know that they were slightly health-conscious burglars. But Madam Speaker, what I do want to say is that the police reacted literally within 2 minutes. The police were there. And I've always found that if I've been on the precinct and felt unsafe, I've just gone to V12 and I've had a police escort wherever I've required it. So I don't think it's a case of the police being unwilling to help us. It's just a case of, I think that there has been bad relations with the police in the past with many members, which I think leave the police slightly nervous around members of parliament. And I think that if we don't ask, we won't get. But I think we've now received a solid ask from all of the members on this particular in this particular meeting, that we do require more of an access control. And Madam Speaker, I happen to notice, and these are things that I think you only pick up once an issue has happened, that there are areas that are marked for gold member card holders only, and other entrances that are marked for all members. And I think perhaps with the Secretary of Parliament, with Mr. Kaso and yourself, should look at why initially there were these entrances that were for the gold card holders who are only MPs, and then other entrances that were for all members. And I've noticed that the entrances that are for all members have a lot more security than the entrances just for MPs. And maybe the reason for that was to double check the people who were coming into the building who weren't gold card holders originally. So I do think that is something that we need to look into urgently. But I do want to say thank you to everyone for the very quick reaction. And it certainly it was of great comfort, the many telephone calls that I received from my fellow colleagues on this group. So thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mazon. I must say, colleagues, this is a matter I would like to be seized with. I will engage with the Secretary of Parliament, and I'd also like to engage with the head of security in Parliament. So I think that maybe we may come back to you and put together a small team from amongst yourselves who will form part of this group, which will work closely with the head of security and the police, just to follow up on some of the matters and decisions which have been taken in the past, which have not been implemented in Parliament. Mr. Kaso, do you have any more other announcements you'd like to make?
Madam Speaker, not really, but there is a matter of a parliamentary institute that we would like to, with your permission, to brief the whippery on maybe at the next meeting, so that there's a better understanding of what this idea is and what it is all about. So, ma'am, I think that's the only thing that I would like to indicate.
Thank you very much, Honorable Mr. Kaso. I would have thought that this matter would be brought to this meeting, particularly because there's a date set already for the launch of that institute, which is the 9th of December. And the 9th of December is a Thursday before Parliament rises. So I'm hoping that at the next meeting on Thursday, a report will be given to the members of Parliament. Okay, on that note, honorable members, if there aren't any other announcements, then I propose that we adjourn this meeting. And good luck with the negotiations for the coalitions in our municipalities. Thank you.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you,
Nkosi Speaker. Siyabulela.
Recording
Siyayinida lo
stopped.
like.
Thank you very much, honorable members.